Okay, so now we're going to talk about Yuri's route. Yuri's route was, I think the theme for it was, let me see. Oh, yeah, you'll also see that there's some writing here. Because I technically had finished Sayori Draft 1, so I started writing some bit of Yuri's route. We'll skip over it. It's nothing major. Essentially, though, I think Yuri's route dealt a lot with it dealt more with social boundaries and social exercise, not social exercises, kind of just like the boundaries between people. Um, so yeah, here we go. So the girl on the stage, day of the festival. Yeah, it's a pretty standard scene. We're gonna skip past most of this dialogue here. I alone together. The two of you walk around the festival. Yeah, this is the festival scene. All right, here we go. Normal days. Here we go. This was the normal days at the club episode. A place of safety. The small date. You go to the bookstore. It's that nice little smoothed-in date scene before the conflict really starts to ramp up. Without you, how far should friends go for each other? This is where I wanted to start ramping up Yuri's almost almost obsessive tendencies. They weren't really it wasn't going to be anything like really crazy. It was just going to be, being really close, closer than most people, like getting very close, suddenly showing up at his door, like knowing things about him, I guess, kind of like perfectly timing it that she would be there and he walks out, having his favorite food, like knowing that stuff even though he hasn't told her, that sort of thing. Um, and is gonna kind of ramp. Is gonna be kind of a little bit creepy. Um, it was supposed to evoke that that bit of psychotic part that everyone saw from Act Two, and I knew was looking for. They wanted to have that little bit of crazy in them here in this route, and so this is where I was giving it. And then alone and more. This is where you kind of officially had that coupling moment, or about to, because that led into crane formation, a critical strike to capture her heart. That was the confession scene. Um, this is where you're officially together. Then you have stowaway. She really wants every moment to be with him. This is again ramping up that weirdness factor to Yuri, that she's always there and it's kind of really creepy. Uh, you know, and so it's supposed to creep you out. You were waiting for that, like, oh, I'm gonna get stabbed moment. I wanted to. My plan was to bring that into this route. You know, um, just to get it out of the system because I know I knew people were looking for it. And part of me was saying, okay, I'm gonna give people what they want, but then I'm also not gonna give them what they want. I'm gonna give them something else that they're looking for because that's my aim. I don't want to give you exactly what you want. I want to give you something you're not expecting, but yet you're also kind of expecting, um, to give you that mix of like, yeah, that's what I wanted to see, and like that feeling of, oh, that's different. But I like it that way. And so this leads into overture. When things go too far, this is where you discover her cutting. I think it was gonna be like some scene where you go use the bathroom and then she's like in your bedroom, using it as a release, and then freeze frame, a glimpse into how she feels alive. This was supposed to be the cutting thing. I think was supposed to be part of like Yuri's. It was like a release mechanism. I didn't quite hammer it out, but it tied into how she couldn't really get. She felt didn't really know social boundaries very well, um, and so this fed part of it. Eternal Lotus, essentially Freeze Frame Part 2, was the first 3 days of the Literature Club, but through Yuri's eyes. You're going to find that I kind of like doing this thing, putting a different spin on scenes that you've seen before. I really like the once more, but with clarity trope. This is finding something to hold on to forever. This is the MC coming into her life and, being there. And there's something else that she wants now, but she's all awkward and social boundaries are hard for her. Scherzo, a new way of looking at things, a lighter burden on her shoulders. I think it was supposed to be something about like the social boundaries issue led to bullying, and that led to her like slicing herself as a way to feel alive. Um, it was messy. You'll see some notes at the end of this outline that kind of talk that I was trying to piece together what exactly it was. Maybe I'll show it actually for the Yuri route. I'll skip to the end of here afterwards. But essentially, this is where you and the MC and you, or Yuri and the MC together are helping to essentially help her with the issue. So part of it was social boundaries, social interactions, and she was awkward with that. But then also like part of it was this obsession with the MC because he was there. He was there when everyone else was leaving. He wasn't scared away. He wasn't freaked out. Well, I mean, he was freaked out, but it wasn't enough to, force him to go away. And so this feeds Yuri's obsession with him because it's like it's that one person that isn't leaving. It's this one person that I've opened myself bare to, and he's not leaving. And she's never had someone like that before. So she holds on to him forever. Finding something to hold on to forever. And then part of that backstory was being bullied, and for the cutting, I'm not quite sure, but previous tormentor returns. The bond she believed in can't be upheld by her alone. The Yuri's tormentor would come back when Yuri was alone, when she wasn't with the MC, and it was supposed to show that yes, while Yuri is slightly starting to recover, it's only because of the MC there with her. She hasn't come over it with herself. She hasn't changed herself completely where she can be comfortable with it on her own. And that leads into hammers and chains. Even if she can be proud of something, she can never be proud of this, because that's what's normal. And so a promise to be made, to always be together, is made. This is where you swear to Yuri, I'm not going to leave you. I don't care what they say. I'm going to be here with you. And so it's just that little heartwarming scene where even though she's been crushed again by that previous tormentor, she's thinking again, like, I'm never going to have someone there who's going to tolerate all this. The MC swoops in and says, I will not leave you. And then Sorfendo, I don't know. I looked up the word because I knew it was a music term. Wearing a chain is fine as long as it's with the person you want. You're going to find out that I really like using MC's parents or distant parents as a plot device. But essentially, Yuri's obsession, returns because of what happened in the scene Dal Segno. She's been convinced again that I'm going to be alone, and MC says, you are not alone. I am here with you. So you were helping her obsession, but now it's back. It didn't go away just yet. And so, it comes into direct threat when MC's parents come ask him to come visit them up in the city. Technically, it wasn't really concrete. I didn't have any direct plans for MC's parents. It was just going to be as the route varies. But, they extend this invitation. Sayuri jokes, oh, it's a marriage proposal. This, and this hits Yuri hard. She doesn't want to let go. But the MC says, okay, well, I have to go see what my parents want because I'm a dutiful son. So I will go up there. And this leaves Yuri alone again. And her tormentor's here. She doesn't have the MC here to comfort her this time. But in Never Alone, there was always someone with her. She just needed to learn. This is this is that little club scene where the club comes together and it's like, we're here with you. Proud to be. Maybe I can't be proud of the past, but I can be proud of the present. This is Yuri's sort of turning over chapter. Hey, maybe I sliced myself in the past. Maybe I didn't understand people back then, but I didn't make an effort. I didn't make a big enough effort back then. I can't be proud of that, but I can be proud of what I'm trying now. And this was sort of that realization scene where she has her friends with the club. There are people there that she can open up to. It's not just the MC. And so this is sort of doing that plot line of Yuri's social boundaries issue, her obsession with the MC, all of that is slowly being resolved here, and it's not as a cause. It's aided by their relationship, sure. And part of it was sometimes hurt because the MC and Yuri had this dynamic, but in the end, her issue is independent of her relationship with the MC, which I thought was appropriate. It's not you're not going to solve all your issues with romance. So there we go. The longest goodbye. Love can't halt time's advance forever. And so, Yuri's need for the MC's presence hits an all-time high. So yeah, she was getting over her obsession. She's gotten over her social bonds, but she still needs the MC there. It's I don't know if I was gonna make it the obsession or just like this missing you craving. I think my language here was probably just to make it sound more extreme, but I think I would have probably subdued it, not really like make it sound like she's desperate, but it also comes off as kind of like I'm missing you. And then so you have your single choice. I won't let them bring us apart, or you'll always have the literature club. So the following scenes are kind of the same. Across the ends of the earth, the MC has to decide what to do from here. He's being faced with that arranged marriage that Yuri joked about. And Yuri's struggling without his presence. I dropped my dice. And so it's not that her social boundaries issue isn't being fixed because she has the club there, but it's more her obsession with the MC because they were kind of tied in hand. So you can't just have the relationship one. You kind of wanted to have that second conflict that intertwines with them. Because I think if you just had I think in my head, if you only had the relationship conflict, yeah, it would be really easy to tell what was going on. That choice is very easy, and I think the choice is easy regardless. But depending on the ending that you want. But this was supposed to be sort of what am I thinking here? Trying to get my thoughts straight. I did this impromptu, so you can tell that I don't have this scripted because I think it's more fun to just have your raw thoughts as I go. And so Yuri struggles without his presence. So she wants him there. I might have made it missing you thing. Might have made it like much more needy thing. I think it would have been that because Yuri hasn't had someone like the MC before, so she isn't sure how to deal with not having him, and so this is how it is. She really, really, really wants him there, and so it's ramping up every day that he's not there. My tomorrow, there's no shame in being yourself. The only shame you have is the one you choose to burden yourself with. I think this is going to be a thing where the MC's parents try to pressure him. They even look into Yuri and it's like, yo, she's kind of crazy. And the MC, if he might feel ashamed, but realize like, hey, the only shame I'm feeling is, no one, this is just something I chose to be ashamed of. He doesn't have to feel ashamed of that. He can say, yeah, well, she's different now, so I'm not afraid of it. Bring it. Or he can cower back and say, like, yeah, I guess that is something I should hide. And so, his arranged marriage is going to be like a big family, too. So, 2 large families against a boy in love. Who will be the victor? And obviously, you can tell it's going to happen. So, in the good end finale, the MC skips the arranged marriage, hops on a train, runs back. Yuri is like, I can't take any more of this. I'm going to go, you know what? I'm going to take matters into my own hands. She takes a train to get to the MC, and they race across the love. Like, they race across the on the train system. Like, the MC's family is trying to get him back. Like, they're super embarrassed. Like, oh, I'm sorry our son ran away. We're going to go get him back. He's just emotional. And Yuri's trying to get to him before MC's parents get to him. So the race for love, a girl obsessed with a boy and a boy who accepts all of her love. It was a nice cheesy line. Bad end, decrescendo. I thought it was so essentially MC accepts because he's like he's kind of like, okay, well, I don't care. Yuri has the literature club and we're still going to be friends. And he's going to explain it. So Yuri doesn't race for his love. the two still want to hold on to each other though, because they were in a relationship, but even as they split ways, they're not going to forget about each other. And Yuri still has the literature club to back her up, so even though her obsession wasn't completely, she's still alleviating her obsession. I think it was going to be, MC visits, once a week. He goes to a different school now, but he visits a literature club once every week, and they all hang out. And so it helps Yuri's things, but there's this weird disconnect between them. And I think it was a little more appropriate for Yuri's route to be more of a neutral end, not exactly like a bad end like Sayori's route, kind of just one that the core issue, because it's clear that Yuri still really needs you there, and that hasn't gone away, and it's like this is sort of like a temporary hold, right? And I think it was more. It felt like it was better to have it that it's like you're so close to that happy ending that it's like you're just that much off the mark that it's not that shock value. It's just that constant gnawing away at you value. You smile at each other, you're friends, you see each other once a week, but it's like you have these lingering feelings with each other, but you can't. Like the MC knows it's not appropriate, and Yuri knows it's not appropriate because I think Yuri's a smart individual. She seems like a smart individual. She would know not to mess with like the married dude, and so they're just like they have this like chemistry with each other, but they can't act on it, and I think that was more devastating. Is like just knowing that going into the future, this is how they're going to be. So even though it's not terrible, it's an okay end, but it's not the end that they wanted. And that is Yuri's route. I mean, the whole like cutting thing was a mess because I hadn't quite hammered out her motivation for doing it, but I had the general idea here. Yeah, so let me know what you guys thought of that one. Yeah. So I will probably do Natsuki's route next. And then that should be that. That will complete all of the old ones. So, let me know what you think down in the comment section. What would you done differently? I always really like to engage people about the creative process. Especially because I'll admit that I don't understand them completely. It's not like there's too much to understand. I disregard Loop 2 because Loop 2 is tainted. Because Monica could be working behind the scenes, so I'm working off Act 1 stuff and some implications and pulling in some Act 2 things and transforming them a little bit. But this is just what I thought would work. Let me know if you guys would have done anything differently, what you thought of the plot line, all that stuff. All right, I will go record Natsuki's now.